This is the story of Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, story of an ordinary cleric who rose to become supreme leader and who was later killed in a missile strike carried out by Israel and the United States. On the night of February 28, 2026, when missiles were launched into Iran's skies and news of Khamenei's death emerged, it felt like the silence of an empire settling in, an empire that Ali Khamenei had built brick by brick over the past 4 decades. In Iran, he was regarded as Wali al-Faqih, the representative of God on earth. But now, he has been buried in the pages of history. The United States and Israel repeatedly warned Iran, control yourselves. Just as we eliminated your leader, we can eliminate your country. From Iran to India and Pakistan, emotions ran high. Some spoke of revenge, some called for blood. So the question arises, who was Khamenei? And why is it that whether in Tehran, Kashmir, Lucknow, Lahore, or Rawalpindi, people were willing to die for him? There's another side to his life. In some parts of the world, even within Iran, people celebrated his death. Many Iranians were relieved at the passing of the 86-year-old cleric. That is why today we tell the story of Khamenei. Who was that boy born in the dusty lanes of Mashhad into a simple cleric's household? How did he rise to become one of the 5 most powerful men in the world? How did a man, raised in a relatively modernizing Iran, connect religion and politics to build an empire that, in its pursuit of nuclear power, left the country economically strained, and now casts a shadow of world war in his name? This is the story of the man who changed Iran's geography and history forever. To understand Khamenei's story, we must step back into history. He was born on April 19, 1939, in Mashhad, to Syed Jawad Khamenei. His home was filled with Quranic verses and simplicity. The Iran of his childhood was very different from today's Iran. Under Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, it resembled Paris or London, filled with glamour, modeling, nightclubs, and Western fashion. In his memoir, Cell Number 14, Khamenei wrote that when he went to school at the age of 4, he wore worn-out shoes and carried religious books. Outside, luxury and indulgence dominated. Inside his home, there was silence and worship. When he stepped outside in traditional attire, modern children mocked him, calling him Akhund. That humiliation planted seeds of resentment toward the Shah's modern Iran. Yet there was a contradiction. This strict cleric was also a poet. In prison, during long dark nights, he wrote gentle ghazals. He sat with literary figures discussing art. But ironically, the same hands that once wrote poetry later signed orders restricting artists once he rose to power. His softness hardened into ideological steel. A turning point came during the Islamic Revolution. In the religious city of Qom, he met Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who believed religion and politics were inseparable. Khamenei became one of Khomeini's devoted followers. He endured prison, torture, and lashings. He distributed pamphlets against the Shah. When the Shah fell and Khomeini returned from exile, Khamenei became his close ally and played a key role in establishing the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, created not only to protect the country, but to protect the revolution itself. One of the darkest chapters came in 1988. After the Iran-Iraq War, prisons were filled with political detainees. A secret order led to mass executions. It is estimated that over 5,000 prisoners were executed within weeks, including teenagers and pregnant women. Khamenei described it as divine justice against traitors. In 1989, after Khomeini's death, Khamenei became supreme leader. One of his earliest major global actions was reinforcing the death fatwa against Salman Rushdie over the novel The Satanic Verses. This decision shocked the world. Violence followed globally. A Japanese translator of the book was murdered. An Italian translator and Norwegian publisher were attacked. Rushdie lived under protection for years. Even decades later, the fatwa was never officially withdrawn. In 2022, Rushdie was stabbed in New York, losing one eye but surviving. Iran's leadership did not condemn the attack. Khamenei's influence, it seemed, extended beyond politics into ideology. Publicly, Khamenei lived modestly. Simple carpets, simple surroundings. But reports alleged he controlled a vast financial empire through an organization known as Setad, valued at billions of dollars. He sidelined former allies like Akbar Hashemi, Rafsanjani, when political differences emerged. His power center was not parliament but his own office, Bait-e-Rahbari, staffed by thousands loyal directly to him. One of his most important allies was General Qasem Soleimani. Soleimani expanded Iran's influence through Hezbollah in Lebanon, militias in Iraq, and Houthis in Yemen. When Soleimani was killed in a US drone strike in 2020, Khamenei wept publicly. Domestically, protests shook his rule. In 2009's Green Movement, millions protested alleged election fraud. He warned that bloodshed would be the protesters' responsibility. Security forces cracked down violently. In 2022, the death of Mahsa Amini reignited nationwide protests over the hijab law. Executions increased. Public hangings were carried out as a warning. For Khamenei, the hijab was not just cloth. It symbolized the revolution's foundation. Another controversial element was Iran's nuclear program. Publicly, he declared nuclear weapons forbidden under Islam, but underground facilities like Natanz and Fordow continued operations. Sanctions crippled Iran's economy, yet he did not retreat. Meanwhile, his son, Mojtaba Khamenei, quietly gained influence, becoming a shadow figure in power structures. Critics called it dynastic politics, ironic for a revolution that had overthrown monarchy. By early 2026, tensions had intensified. On February 28th, during a high-level meeting inside a secure bunker in Tehran, bunker buster missiles struck. Within seconds, the structure was reduced to rubble. Khamenei's death placed Iran at a crossroads. Would it continue down the path of hardline ideology or return to a more open identity? Figures like Reza Pahlavi have emerged as voices of change, but the ideological and institutional structures built over 40 years remain powerful. Khamenei's life raises a final question. Will history remember him as a protector or as a man whose decisions brought the world closer to war? His influence from Tehran to South Asia cannot be denied. But what legacy will ultimately define him? That was the story of Ali Khamenei. Now the question remains, how will history judge him?